David, I want to bring you in. Pick up what you've heard so far and tell me what you agree with.
So I think if American viewers are wondering why this is directly going to affect them, I think one really fascinating point is that you're going to have this ugly divorce argument involving 28 countries, Britain and the other 27. But I think Donald Trump could be a kind of shadow 29th figure at the table. It's really interesting, I think, the dynamic that Theresa May, she came over to Washington here quickly to try and make the point that maybe Britain could show that it has other options. It can sign a free trade deal rather quickly with Donald Trump, going against what Barack Obama said last year, that Britain would have to wait at the back of the queue. I talked to a European ambassador this week who was saying he was really struck by how Republicans on Capitol Hill, for example, seem to imagine there's actually a quick free trade deal to be done where Donald Trump shows he's enthusiastic about Brexit. It's rather a good idea. It fits his worldview. But here's the thing. Actually, it's really hard for Donald Trump to do a free trade deal with Britain, partly because Britain won't know the terms of its own trade with Europe. But also the politics could very quickly get very, very tricky for someone like Theresa May, because Donald Trump is really, really unpopular across a lot of Europe. So if Britain is seen as a kind of Trojan horse, as part of a kind of Trumpian nationalist movement breaking up the European Union, and that Britain somehow wants to ally itself with America in that, there things get really, really hard. So I think Donald Trump is going to, whether he likes it or not, he's going to be a player in this argument. And Charlie, you asked about security. There's another big issue here, which is, I don't want to over sort of exaggerate Britain's kind of importance as, you know, the most important country in the world. But America over the years has invested a lot in things like peace in Northern Ireland. Now, you know, if you crash out of the European Union, there are scenarios where a hard border kind of has to reappear between Northern Ireland and Ireland. Scotland, there are economic reasons why Scotland may choose to stay in the United Kingdom still, but the politics have got more tempting for Scotland to say, well, maybe we want to stay in Europe. America, among other things, parks its nuclear submarines in bases in Scotland. It's the only place in the UK that you can park a nuclear submarine. Scotland goes away. Suddenly there's a real crisis about what to do with Britain's nuclear deterrent, and that's quite important to America. So there are extraordinary kind of risks that cascade out from a hard departure without a deal.
David, Martin Wolf argued in the Financial Times that Brexiters must lose if Brexit is to succeed. Can you unpack that for me?
Yeah, I think that the Brexiteers have basically told the British public that they can have full sovereignty and full control over everything, from not having to listen to the European Court of Justice, total control over immigration, and that they're not going to get any poorer, that they can have all the prosperity that they currently have from trading with the single market. We certainly at The Economist would argue that's always been untrue, and so they are going to have to lose because they're going to have to make some concessions if they don't want to have voted to become poorer. If they do want to continue trading profitably and to be a dynamic, successful, modern Western country, then they are going to have to make some concessions which currently they're denying in terms of being in some ways subject to European rules. I mean, imagine an American pharmaceutical company that makes advanced medicines in the UK. It happens quite a lot at the moment. We crash out. Does that American pharmaceutical company want to be subject to British rules and then completely separate set of European rules? It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense for an American company to have a factory in the UK under those terms. So actually, to make this work, the Brexiteers are going to have to break some of their promises to their own supporters.